Okay, my name is Alan from SET English, and I'm going to do a class today on what's called a request paragraph. Okay, so let's get into it. A request paragraph, what is that? I'm going to show you here something. So how to write a request paragraph. First question is this. What is it, right? What is a requests paragraph? Okay, now if you're watching live, you should know that I am going to be reading your comments and trying to respond to what you say. Okay, so please, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook or another platform, type in the chat now and I'll be looking to read your comments and respond to them. Okay, so my question is, what is a requests paragraph? That's what you need to respond to, and I'll be listening for responses. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's see if we've got anyone. All right. Well, there's a few suggestions. A few people are saying things, but let's be more specific. I know a lot of you are saying a lot of people here are saying make request. A lot of the answers are saying that, but let's be more specific. What is a request? Okay, a request is where you tell the reader what to do. Okay, what to do. Okay, so that's what a request paragraph is. It's usually the last paragraph in your letter as well. Okay, so the last paragraph of your letter, you're going to tell the reader what to do. Okay, now usually if you're a nurse, very often that's going to be a discharge plan. Okay, if you're a doctor, more likely it might be some kind of instructions to the specialist. All right, usually, not always. So remember, an OET letter, guys, looks something like this. Let's put a table in here. In general, very generally speaking, okay, an OET letter will have introduction paragraph, and it's going to have right at the end a requests paragraph. Okay, in here you might have, you know, like what we call a timeline paragraph maybe, or you might have background paragraph, or whatever is needed. Okay, same with this paragraph. It can change, right? It depends on the situation. Okay, these paragraphs can change, but the introduction and the requests, they stay the same. You're always going to do this. That's what I tell my students. Almost always. I mean, 100% you will always write the introduction paragraph. 100%. Okay. Same with the requests. Okay, so we're going to tell reader what to do. Fantastic. So far, so good. Now, the next question is this. How do I write one? What language am I going to use? What type of sentences? Okay, so how to write a request paragraph. Number one, what is a request paragraph? We have the answer. Okay, it's the last paragraph of your letter, and it's you tell the reader what to do. Okay, but the question now is number two. What am I going to use? Right? What's the language that I'm going to use in a requests paragraph? That's what I want to talk about now. Okay? So let's talk about the language you might use in a requests paragraph. The first and most important thing that you're going to use, language. Oops. So what I really mean here is sentence types, okay? Sentence types. The first and most important type, you can type in the chat if you're watching this, but the first and most important type for me is what's called the imperative. Okay? And again, forgive my typing today, bad typing here. First thing you're going to do is you're going to write imperatives. Okay? What is an imperative? So again, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, can you tell me what is an imperative? Maybe you can. Maybe you can let me know here. What is an imperative? If you're watching on YouTube, what is an imperative? Let us know. Okay. Okay, so we have a few answers. Some interesting comments from you guys, but in general, an imperative, let me just be clear so we know exactly what's going on here. An imperative is a sentence with no subject, or a sentence starting with a verb giving an instruction or giving an imperative, right? So what does that mean? Well, I could say, you know, I buy coffee. I, subject, buy coffee, right? I is the subject. It's the doer of the action in this sentence. Buy is the action and coffee is the object, okay? If I take away I and I just say buy coffee, right? If I just say, for example, let's have an example here. If I just say, buy coffee, this is what's called an imperative sentence, okay? Buy coffee, and it's telling the reader to do something, right? I hope you can see this clearly, guy. This is a descriptive sentence, I buy coffee. It's in the present tense, and that means it's a routine action, but this one is an imperative, no subject. And that's what's key here, no subject, okay? It's telling someone to do it. Now, in OET, what we want to do is use imperatives in our requests paragraph, right? This paragraph here, you're going to have imperatives. So let me put this here, imperatives. And it's actually really easy. This is the sentences, okay? It's actually a really easy thing to do, all right? So let me show you an example. I'm going to show you now some case notes, and we'll just make a simple imperative sentence. So I'm going to move down, and hopefully you can see here some case notes, okay? So here we have some case notes. Now, remember, to make an imperative, we need to start with the verb, okay? With the verb. And also remember, request paragraphs, we're asking the reader to do something, So let's look at this discharge plan and look at the first line. First line says, monitor medications. And then it says Panadine with a strange spelling, Forte, or Fort, okay? So that's the case notes. How do I change this? Well, is this a verb? Is monitor already a verb? The answer is yes, okay? So in OET, in your letter, you could write something like this. You could simply take that and just write, please, right, so start with please, monitor, let's say Mr. Baker's medication, right? Here is my imperative, okay? There is no subject here. There's no subject, right? I'm not saying please I monitor, or please she monitor, please he monitor, right? It's just please monitor Mr. Baker's medication. So that's an imperative sentence. And we can use these a lot in request paragraphs. So this is the first type you're going to use, okay? So I'm going to call this, let me call this type 1. Type 1 imperative, okay? Now in OET, it's very good in OET if you can put two together. So comma, okay? try putting two together. It reads much better. So I'm just going to highlight this, guys. Look, comma, and. Okay? And then you can add in another imperative. Look at this, guys. Preserve skin integrity. Okay? So I have now a very nice sentence for my request paragraph. I hope this makes sense. I'll put this in purple, right? Hopefully we can see this now. That is a very simple and easy way to write sentences in your request paragraph. Remember, request paragraph is final paragraph. Okay, so let me just make this simple, okay? I'm going to just make this slightly more simple, this diagram, okay? Let's put this example here, buy coffee, and I'm going to delete this. If you would like a copy of this worksheet, please feel free to check it out, okay? Okay, next, I can't just keep doing this. We need another type, right? We need another type of sentence, okay? You can't just keep saying, please monitor, please manage, please treat, please provide, please advise. You can't repeat all the time. You have to have a different sentence type to use. And the sentence type that I recommend in this situation would be this. He needs, or, and there's two here, it's important, he requires. Okay? He needs or he requires. Wow, these are really big. I'm going to put here 1. Okay? Oops. 2. Now, this is very important because what comes next? What comes next? Right? Is it a noun? Can it be a verb? Can it be something else? Okay? And if you're watching this, this is a key point, a very common mistake that you see in OET all the time. Okay? What comes next? All right? So if you're watching, what do you think? What comes next? Like, is it a noun? Is it a verb? Adjective? What is coming next? Okay? If you're watching on Facebook, what comes next in this? Do you know what I mean? Shani, for example. Nice to see you, sir. Let me give you the answer, guys. Okay? This is the answer. Let me explain. He needs, you can have verb, or you can have noun. Okay? Both of these are okay. So I can say, for example, I can say something like this. Let me just move this out of the way. He needs to be, right? Or he needs to do more exercise. This is a verb, to do, right? But I can also say he needs more food, or he needs food. This is a noun. So with this structure, you're going to have subject plus needs plus verb or noun. Okay? Specifically, the verb we will use would be infinitive verb, okay? And I hope you know what that means. It doesn't really matter. Like, he needs to eat. That's an infinitive. It's called the full infinitive. Full infinitive. Okay? Okay, so that's going here. What about he requires? He requires? Well, oops. The rules are different here. Okay? With he requires, can I say he requires to eat? Is that correct? The answer is, what do you think if you're watching Facebook? Can I say to eat? He requires to eat. No. Shani, no. Right? You're not allowed to say verb here after requires. Okay? So the rule is just he requires exercise, like this. Okay? So here the rule is different. The rule is subject plus requires plus noun only. Okay? So he needs to eat, he requires exercise. So in the example above, we might say, look, if we look here, continue exercise program. If we have a look at the discharge plan here, if you guys have a look here, you can see continue, the third one down, continue exercise program. I can say he needs to continue his exercise program, right? Or I can say he requires to continue. No, that's incorrect. I cannot use that one. Okay. What can I say? Well, don't say it. I think it's not very easy to find what to say here. Use needs. Okay. But I could say he requires equipment. Right? Because we have number 4 here. If you have a look here, number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, equipment required. Okay? So using these two sentence types, this is just called needs, I'll call this needs requires. Oops. Using these two sentence types, you can make your request paragraph. That's all you need. Okay? Imperatives and then requires, needs, subject, verb. Okay? Using those two sentence types only, you can build a full request paragraph. Okay? For example, let me give you an example, right? Let's do some copy pasting. I'm going to cheat here and do some copy pasting. Okay? This will be an example. I might write like this. In view of the above, please monitor Mr. Baker's medication and preserve skin integrity. Additionally, he needs to continue his exercise program. And, right, I can put them together. I can combine them. And he requires, right, oops, he requires